Let's talk about piecewise functions, and the key part of piecewise functions, the key piece, bad pun, sorry. The key piece of piecewise functions is the fact that they're really broken up into pieces. So up until this point, you have dealt with functions where you take your input and you plug that input in and you get out an output. So now we have to decide where to send that input. So where is that input going to go? We have two pieces in this case. Is it going to go into the top one or the bottom one? Well, it depends on what our x value is. So first problem is f of 10. So I'll look at the 10, I say, oh, this is my x value. I need x values less than 0 if I want to use this piece. I need x values greater than or equal to 0 if I want to use this piece. 10 is greater than 0. We go here. It's that easy, I promise. Let me switch colors here so everything doesn't run together. And so I'm going to plug 10 in here because, well, 10 squared minus 2 is 98 and 10 is greater than 0, so that's it. That's all I have to do. So the rest of these are going to be pretty straightforward. I think you'll get the hang of this very quickly. The first set of problems is really just to gain some speed and fluency with knowing this is my x value. I'll look here. That helps me make my decision and then plug in the appropriate place. That's what we're really doing. So mute the video if you like. I'm going to work through these. I'm going to keep narrating because I think that just sort of helps. And if you don't need this help with the narration, you feel free, like I said, mute it. Just kind of look up every now and then, make sure we're both on the same track. Okay? Here goes. Second problem. F of negative 2. Negative 2 is less than 0 because negative 2 is less than 0. I plug it in here. So I'm going to have 1/2 times negative 2 plus 4. That would be negative 1 plus 4, which is going to give me 3. Okay? F of 0. 0 is not less than 0. 0 is greater than or equal to, it is equal to 0. 0 is equal to 0. Therefore, I go here. So 0 squared minus 2, which is going to give me negative 2. Next problem. F of negative 1. Negative 1 is negative 1 less than 0. Yes. Then since we're going to have a negative 1 that is less than 0, we go here. Negative 1 goes there. So I'm going to have 1/2 times negative 1 plus 4. So 1/2 times negative 1, that's negative 1/2. Negative 1/2 plus 4 would give me 3.5. It was an awkward looking 5. Okay, going faster now, and I'm not going to narrate nearly as much. 1 is greater than 0. We go here. So 1 squared minus 2, negative 1. Negative 10 is less than 0. Goes here. So 1/2 times negative 10 plus 4. The whole board was shaking as I was writing that. I was very excited. So negative 5 plus 4 is negative 1. Okay, 5. 5 is greater than 0. Goes here. 5 squared minus 2. 23. And negative 4. Negative 4 is less than 0. Told you these go fast. 1/2. Negative 4 plus 4. So negative 2 plus 4 is going to give me positive 2. And last one, 6. 6 squared minus 2. 6 squared minus 2, 34. No surprises there. We are now finished with the first set of problems. Again, the whole point is knowing where to look. Take your x value, decide where it applies, plug it into the appropriate place. Okay, the next set of problems are going to be a little bit different for a couple reasons. So here we go. Moving forward. We have two functions. We have an f and a g. So not going to be hard. We just have to be a little more aware of what function they're asking us to use. They might say f of 3, and then we'll be like, oh, f of 3. Let's see, 3 is a no, f of 3. So just choose the appropriate one. Also, I want to point out this little guy right here. Negative 2 less than or equal to x less than 3. What in the world does that mean? So one way I look at this one, and I'm going to write this in a different color, and then I'm going to erase it. But one way I look at all this right here, and the way I read it out loud, you can read it the way I just read it, or you could say x is between negative 2 and 3. Now, the little catch to that is x is between negative 2 and 3, but could include negative 2. So including negative 2 because of the equal sign on the negative 2 with the negative 2, but not with the 3. So if I said, hey, find out g of 3, you don't go here, you'd go here. I think that's obvious, but as we word it out loud based on what's written on the paper, we would have to be very careful with how we worded it and knew what to do with it. So x is between negative 2 and 3. I do include negative 2. I don't include 3. One other way, and I'll explain this later in another part of the video. I'm going to do it already here. I'm going to go ahead and do it now. If I wrote this Another way I could look at it is by just looking at that part, and I'm going to write that backwards. I would say that x is greater than or equal to -2. And I would also say, and we'll use that part, x is, come on, there we go, x is less than 3. So this is the set of all numbers that satisfies both of these conditions. So if you want to go all number line on it, you could. You could say -2, 3. I need every number that's greater than -2 or equal to -2. So we'd go here and we'd start shading, and we'd go and we'd go and we'd go. But what I also want to do is only keep the ones that are less than 3. So I'd be stuck in the middle with you. There we go. Those are the numbers that would apply there. Okay, big long explanation for what you probably already knew, but I just wanted to point out that one little nuance. So we have 9 problems we're going to work through in this section, and I'm going to delete all of this, I think, if that works. Yep, and I'm going to delete that too. There we go. All right, let's pick a color. What color do you want? Blue? Good, let's do it. First problem, f of 2. This is going to go fast. And then they're going to start slowing down a little bit as we get to some of the crazy ones. So f of 2. F of 2. 2 is not less than 1. 2 is greater than 1. So we're going to have 1 minus 2 squared. That's 1 minus 4, -3. First problem, done. Yes. All right. Second problem, changing colors. What color do you want? Me too. F of 0. Okay, where's 0? 0 is less than 1. Good. Plug it in. Absolute value of 0, -5. Absolute value, you know this, but absolute value measures distance. Distance can never be negative, so we always make it positive. But if I ran 0 miles, then you'd be like, how far did you run? Well, I ran 0 miles. Don't worry about it being positive or negative, it's just 0. So 0 minus 5 is -5. Don't let that absolute value fool you into thinking this entire answer has to be positive. We have already made this positive as much as we could, but it was 0, so we couldn't make it positive. But we dealt with the absolute value and then subtracted 5. Just saying. Okay, third problem, g of -3, pick a color. This is bugging you that I'm like, pick a color, and then I pick whatever color, right? You were wanting purple anyway. So g of -3. -3 is, this is the tricky one, but it's not hard, but it's hard, but it's not hard. A lot of people miss it, but it's not hard. -3 is less than -2. So no need to even dabble with these. So I'm just going to come over here and I'm going to put 5. I've put problems like this on a quiz before, and people would be like, 5 times -3. No. It is not 5 times -3. It's 5. It's 5. We're done. We're done. I would love to plug in the x value into this function, but there is no x to plug it into. Just saying. All right. Pick a color. When they'll show up, so don't pick yellow. We'll go with red. And I have g of 0. Is that red? It's kind of rosish. 0 is not less than -2. It's not greater than 3. It is between -2 and 3. So we're going to plug a 0 in there. That gives me the absolute value of 4 minus 0 squared. So that'd be 4. Absolute value of 4 is 4. There we go. That's it. All right. Moving a little faster. Picking colors on my own. I don't need your input. Well, that's a G. It started out as an F and then it turned into a G. It's kind of awkward. So G of -2. G of -2 almost went here. Be careful. It is G. G of -2, you might just instinctively be like, yeah, found it. No, found it. It's the middle one. So it could be greater than or equal to -2 or less than 3. I said the word or in there. Technically, if you want to get all mathematical on me here, then it should be and. Like I said earlier. X is greater than or equal to -2 and x is less than 3. Sorry, wanted to make that quick correction. May not have been a big deal to you, but I caught myself and it wasn't going to work. Anyway, -2 applies here. We're going to plug a -2 here. This one's a little tricky in its computation. Absolute value of 4 minus -2 squared. Okay, we're squaring the -2. So there's that. That gives me 4 minus +4, which is 0. The absolute value of 0 is 0. Okay. Let's keep moving. Green, just because that's the pattern so far. G of 5. G of 5. 5 is greater than 3. So we're going to plug a 5 in right there. At this point, you're like, okay, Mr. Reader, I got it. Like, I can do basic math. These are easy. I hear you. And the next 3 problems are not hard either. There's just more to them, and I don't want to spring that on you later on. You'd be like, haha, you had no idea what was happening. So I'm going to go ahead and go a little slower through the next 3 because they're just a little different. So I'm going to take everything I've just done and slide it down. Yes. Success. Success on the slidage. And then we'll change to purple, because you requested it. I felt you telepathically, not telepathically. Every time I'm like, pick a color, people are like purple or blue. It's usually one of those two. Okay, again, not hard, just different looking. So we have a couple things going on here. We have 2f of 1. Okay, well, we're gonna have to do 2 of whatever's about to happen. Well, find out what f of 1 is. F of 1, that goes here. So we would have 2 of this with the 1 plugged in. So, writing a little bit too much, you can do a lot of this in your head. But we would have this, that's -4, okay? So we're gonna have 2 times -4 plus, okay, f of 4. So we're gonna plug a 4 in, because 4 is greater than 1. We're gonna plug a 4 into this function. And I'm gonna put parentheses even though it's not fully necessary. I just like it for clarity that this is one operation that's happening, and then we'll just deal with all of this. So 2 times 1 minus 5, so -4. There's that, plus, and then 1 minus 4 squared, that'd be 1 minus 16, so -15. And so I will have -8 minus 15, and that's going to give me -23. Ha 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 ha, done. Done with that one. And the next 2 are not too much different than that. So it's just a matter of knowing when to plug a number in and when to hold on to a number and say, you know what, that number, I'm going to multiply it whenever I'm finished simplifying. Okay? So, how can I do this? I'll do this. How about that? And then I'll take these 2 functions and I'll slide them up. When I first started teaching, oh goodness, I'm going to tell a story that shows my age. When I first started teaching, I did not even have a whiteboard in my classroom. I had a, drop the marker. I had a chalkboard and an overhead projector. And so all this, couldn't do it then. Just saying. A long, elaborate story just to be like, yeah, I've been here a while. Minus f of -1. Let's go quickly on this one because I think we got it. G of 3 is here. So I'm going to plug a 3 in. I'm going to have 3 minus 3. That is 0. I'm going to go ahead and put this just to sort of hold its place. Go ahead and put a 0 if you want. I like to show work for the sake of explanation. But if you want to be like, 0, fine, put 0. Minus f of -1. -1 f function. -1 is less than 1, so -1 goes here. I will put parentheses around this because it runs the risk of being negative, and then we'd have subtraction of a negative. A lot of sign errors can happen when you leave parentheses out. Trust me, I know. I've been here since the chalkboards were hanging. -1 is going to go there, so I'll have absolute value of -1, and then minus 5. So 0 minus. Okay, absolute value of -1 is 1. 1 minus 5 would be -4. So a lot of this can happen in your head, but I wanted to show it on the board. And then we'll do one last problem. We'll do it in green. And that last problem looks like this. F of -4 plus 3 g of -1. Okay. Not multiplying by anything in the front here, so we're just going to plug in a -4. -4 is less than 1, so -4 goes there. Absolute value of -4 minus 5. Okay. Not necessary, but I like to, out of good habit. I'm going to group that together. Don't have to, I just like it. Plus 3 times whatever's about to happen. That's a really awkward looking absolute value bar. Oh well. G of -1. -1 is between -2 and 3, so -1 is going to go right there. So we're going to have 3 times whatever's about to happen here, and whatever's about to happen here is this. -1 goes there. So 4 minus -1 squared. All right, let's beat this thing into submission mathematically. That is 4 minus 5, that'd be -1. Okay, plus 3. And then we're going to have some amazingness going on here. I left something out. Bars. Not going to change anything, but yeah, it's there. That would be 1, so 4 minus 1 would be 3. So the absolute value of 3 is 3. And that's going to give me 10. And in the back of my mind, I feel like something's really off about this, but it's not. Yeah, it is. It's not. It's negative 1 plus 9. Oh, goodness. That was tragic. I'm glad I caught that. I was like, man, this gut reaction. It's like, I've done something wrong. This doesn't look right. 8. Yeah, negative 1 plus 9, not 10. Is that it? I believe that is it. That takes care of that. I think we understand. Do we understand? Not like you can answer in a video, right? All right. If there's something you need, watch that part again. Let me know if you need anything.